Live from InnisFree here in Tuscaloosa with Trey Yanity. I'm Mick Gillispie. It's game weekend, right? But maybe not a huge matchup, New Mexico State, but it's always fun to talk football.
It is. You know, Mick, this is a different kind of game. This is New Mexico State. It was LSU last week, and there was a lot more people here at InnisFree, but the people here are into it tonight. And I think New Mexico State, you know, while this team maybe isn't as good, they're going to provide some challenges, and this is a big time for Alabama to tune up before they play the rest of this SEC schedule, try to get to that title game. But, you know, it's another weekend of football, another home weekend. How are you doing, Mick?
I'm doing great, and the show starts now.
The BamaInsider Tailgate Show is on the air. Alabama football is rolling, and we've got you covered with a breakdown of the game matchup, an SEC preview, and all the fun of an afternoon on the quad. With BamaInsider Managing Editor Kyle Henderson, recruiting expert Andrew Bone, and former Crimson Tide Sports Network broadcaster and SEC Network play-by-play voice Mick Gillispie. The BamaInsider Tailgate Show is presented by Yuengling Lager. Yuengling, America's oldest brewery and the only beer you need at a Bama tailgate party. Pearl River Resort Casino and Hotel in Choctaw, Mississippi. Let's Play, now featuring the sports book at the Timeout Lounge. Also brought to you by the Floribama world-famous Beach Bar and Lounge in Orange Beach. Genesis of Tuscaloosa, luxury with a national championship service department. Sevierville, your Smokies start here. Tuscaloosa Hyundai, the longer you look, the more there is to like. InnisFree, an Alabama Irish pub tradition. Tuscaloosa Tourism and Sports, not too small, not too big. Tuscaloosa is pronounced just right. Commercial banker Jay Weber with Service First Bank. Hotel Indigo, Tuscaloosa's amazing upscale boutique lodging in downtown. NewLifeArt.com, publisher of fine art editions by Daniel A. Moore. R&R Cigar, the home of the Victory Cigar, with 2 locations in Tuscaloosa and Northport. And Screwball, the original peanut butter whiskey. Now, here are Kyle and Mick.
What do you say, everybody, from InnisFree here in Tuscaloosa? It's time for the BamaInsider Tailgate Show. The Tailgate Show is always presented by Yuengling Lager, America's oldest brewery. And for the next 2 hours, we're going to preview number 2 Alabama against New Mexico State, 11 a.m. at Bryant-Denny Stadium. On the show today, we got a great lineup for you. Adam Young, my buddy, who is the voice of the Aggies out in New Mexico State. He's going to jump on. Kevin Lundquist from Sikkim Sports out in Texas and Baylor, Texas, is going to talk some recruiting and Alabama and recruiting out there in the Lone Star State, and also the newest SEC teams to come, Oklahoma and Texas. We got Andrew Bone updating us on recruiting. We got Jeff Cameron from the College Sports Book who joins us to help pick games. We got a conversation with Don Staley, former coach of soccer at Alabama. Now he's in charge of Tuscaloosa Sports and Tourism. He's my good buddy. I'm Mick Gillispie, and it's great to be joined by Trey Yanity, part of our BamaInsider crew here at InnisFree, getting you ready for Alabama football. 8-1 Alabama, 1-8 New Mexico State.
You know, this is a New Mexico State team that does have one win this season, but it was an FCS win. And we talked about it before the show, Mick. This was a team that kind of had to blow it up last year. I mean, they didn't play football in 2020. And then, you know, a lot of their guys transfer, hit the portal. This is a new team. And, you know, Kyle Henderson, an alumni of New Mexico State, our boss. This is an exciting matchup for him. But for a lot of people, you know, this matchup doesn't mean a whole lot. I think for Alabama, it's more than the team you're playing. You're going to win the game tomorrow. I have a good feeling about it. New Mexico State hasn't come within 10 points of any of the teams on their schedule. And this is the first Power 5 team that they've played. And this is Alabama, number 2 Alabama. For Alabama, what can you change? What can you fix? You know, this LSU game, and I know we're going to get into it here, it wasn't their best performance by any means. But New Mexico State, you don't have to have your best performance. You have to do what it takes to tune some things up and, you know, get better for the rest of this SEC schedule.
Yep, no doubt about it. The remote here at InnisFree is brought to you by Screwball, the original peanut butter whiskey. Got a lot of swag we're going to give out. Some sunglasses, some T-shirts. We got the Screwball Christmas lights hanging as we get closer to the holiday season. and they always present our remote here at InnisFree on the Strip. Let me give you the lineup for the show. 6 to 8 Friday night. We always record on the Bama Insider YouTube channel. So for those of you that are watching right now on the Bama Insider YouTube channel, give us a thumbs up, subscribe, hit the bell, like. You're watching a live radio show being recorded, and then it'll be played across the state of Alabama tomorrow. And since tomorrow's game is an 11 a.m. game, this show will air from 6 to 8 on our flagship station, 100.5 Birmingham, Tuscaloosa. That's Jocks Radio. And then throughout the state of Alabama, 9 to 11 for those of you that are up in the Shoals area, Fox Sports Shoals in Florence. That's when they're airing it. And we get into this matchup. You kind of touched on it a little bit, and I'm going to get into it some more. Alabama's performance versus LSU, I think it's clear to say that it was less than stellar. I don't agree with Ed Orgeron that LSU is the better team. The better team had more points at the end of the game, so you can say what you want to say about who's better, who's not. That's decided by the score, right? And when the other team has more points, they're better than you. 20-14 was the final in the game, but Alabama has a lot to improve on, and this week's a good test to try to start that process.
I'm glad we're starting the show with this, Mick, because, if we were talking about Ed Orgeron the rest of the way, you might get a little bit heated here. Chris might have to break this up because Mick, not the biggest fan of Ed Orgeron. And, he was going to come out, say those things, try to defend what they did last time with the whole locker room situation and everything else. But Alabama was the better team in that game. There was a lot that went wrong. Alabama didn't run the football very much, and they didn't run it very well when they did. The scheme wasn't there, and I think a lot of people want to turn and say, well, this is Bill O'Brien. This offense, the play calling is incomplete. Nothing's working right now. There's not enough time to change it up. And, I agree with some of those thoughts to an extent, but I think you have to just look at the semantics of this game. Alabama lost a key piece of their offensive line. 5 plays into the game?
Yeah.
You're not going to be able to run the football like you planned to. In that game, Alabama probably came out with a game plan. I didn't see the blueprint, but I had a feeling that they were going to run the ball a lot, work the tight ends a lot. When you lose your center right at the beginning of the game, you can't do that. You have to change around the offense, and they just weren't connecting at times on Saturday. There's positive. I think the defense looked really good. Obviously, Will Anderson, just taking a whole nother step, if that's even possible in that game. So, overall, there are silver linings, but this was a subpar performance. No doubt. They won the game. Their season's still alive, but, not their best effort on Saturday.
Nick Saban being very positive about the win. He's patting his team on the back. He's, giving them a little nudge on the backside, and it's not very Nick Saban-esque. When he has a good team, he's constantly riding those guys. Hey, ignore the fact that you won by 30 or 40. These very close wins, he's trying to keep this team motivated. Sloppy wins against Florida and LSU. My thoughts are maybe Alabama's not as good as we want them to be, but they know how to win.
I'm right there with you, Mick. There's easy love and there's hard love. And I think with a team that has a lot of experience, that has won before. And it's not to say that some of the guys on this team haven't won before. Obviously, everybody that returned is a national champion, but, it doesn't have that overwhelming, upperclassman presence that we've seen in the past. With those teams, I think you see the hard love.
Right.
He can say what he wants to those guys. He's comfortable enough to scold them and, do that even publicly. But I think with a young team, you just kind of have to keep things mellow, even keel. They didn't play well, and they haven't played well. They really haven't played 4 quarters this whole season, but you can't come out and scold and not encourage these kids because they're still learning. They're still figuring things out. And I think this week, if they don't come out and perform well, maybe then you give them the hard love because this is a team that you really need to capitalize on and tune those things up. But after a game like LSU at night, a rivalry game in the SEC, there's only so much you can say there.
I think part of it, too, is that you don't want to undervalue what it means to win a football game.
Exactly.
At the end of the day, maybe it's not the dominant performance that you'd like to see this team have because that it's those dominant teams that go on and win a national championship. But at the end of the day, you still have to value the fact that you won the football game. And in an 8-1 record, they'll be 9-1 after the game today. Alabama is, I'm going to throw it out there. I don't think there's a chance in the world that they lose. They're going into Arkansas next week at 2:30 with a chance to go 10-1. That's an excellent season. They haven't been dominating, but at the same time, when I look at them, I don't see a whole lot of first-round talent on this team. And so maybe they're doing it with a less than stellar group. And that brings me to my next point, the offensive line having all kind of trouble right now.
Yeah, this group has been hurt at times this season, but outside of that, they just haven't been playing very well. And, when you get a guy that is fresh out of the NFL to come coach your position group, literally not even a season, not even a full calendar year removed from the NFL, to come coach your offensive line, you figure that, he would be able to help them make that step. They haven't. And this group at least lost a lot of talent to the NFL, of course, but, they really needed Chris Owens to come in and be that leader, to be the center, be consistent right away. He hasn't been that at all. And Chris Owens, is a leader in the locker room, a leader at practice, but on the field, we haven't seen it. And I don't think that moving Darian Dalcourt was an immediate fix, but, they looked better. Darian Dalcourt gets hurt. Maybe Damian George gets hurt. This offensive line finds themselves in a lot of trouble like they did on Saturday. They have to stay healthy, but aside from that, my guy Sean from Huntsville got on last week. We talked about it. Why don't we try some other things? Why is there such a problem with putting J.C. Latham in the game? Maybe that's, earlier later on today. Maybe this is that opportunity against New Mexico State. It's just broken. There's really and this is kind of the team as a whole. There's really not as much of a feel about this team as we've had in years past. And this offensive line is where that starts. Defensively, you kind of have the same deal on the defensive line at least, but, when you talk about the line, the defensive line has made those strides throughout the season. The offensive line has maybe regressed from the start of it.
Marcus Banks, then Xavier Williams, both transferred. Is that a signal of things to come for Alabama? Don't see a whole lot of transfers from the program, at least we didn't in the past. And now there's 2 in 1 week. 2 in a week is weird.
This is it was really surprising. And, you see Xavier Williams coming into this season, starting to see his role elevate a little bit. In 2018, he didn't have any targets. 2019, he played in 5 games, but he didn't have any targets in that game either. 2020, though, you see him play in the national title, the SEC title. Yeah, I think he had maybe 5-6 catches, was averaging about 8 yards a play, and was going to be one of the older receivers on this team. So we really thought this was going to be, maybe his year. Undisclosed injury before the season. We don't see Xavier Williams at all this season. You look at this receiver room, guys are getting older. The Ajay Halls of the world are going to get their chance, and that, kind of phases the Xavier Williams out. I get the decision there. Marcus Banks was a little bit more surprising, but same kind of deal. I think there's just, maybe not that trust that they're going to get the playing time. You ask, is this a sign of things to come? I think this is a sign of where we're at right now in college football. I mean, the transfer portal is exploding right now. Every single day you see maybe 1-2 Power 5 guys into the transfer portal. So, this is weird for Alabama, but this is going to become the new norm for everybody, Alabama included. And, you have to hope for the best for these guys. How many times were you screaming and getting hype about Xavier Williams this season? No fault to him, but you weren't doing that. So it's not like you're going to have that immediate loss and, you have to deal with that. Go let the kid play somewhere else and get his opportunity somewhere else.
Bama Insider Tailgate Show is brought to you by Pearl River Resort and Casino in Choctaw. Now's a great time to make your picks count at the Timeout Sports Lounge and Sportsbook. Will Anderson, SEC Defensive Player of the Week. Is he a Heisman contender? We're going to talk about that when we come back. More Bama Insider Tailgate Show coming up.
Yingling Traditional Lager, the beer for drinkers who know how to soar higher and spread their wings. So prepare yourself for takeoff and let your night take flight. Liftoff. When your lips meet that cold, crisp amber lager, there's no looking back. So go for glory. Tonight's about the lager, and this lager is all about soaring higher. Yingling Traditional Lager. Spread your wings. DJ Yingling & Son, Pottsville, Pennsylvania. Please drink responsibly.
Thinking about trading or selling your current vehicle? Make sure you get more. Barry Buckner for Tuscaloosa Hyundai. It's been an amazing year, and to keep it going, we need your car. We'll buy your car even if you don't buy one of ours, and we'll pay you more for it. Trading or selling? At Tuscaloosa Hyundai, get more. Corner of Skyland and Hargrove.
TuscaloosaHyundai.com. See dealer for vehicle value details.
The city of Tuscaloosa offers you the combination of great adventures and great overnight accommodations. From exciting sports to unbelievable history, you'll find it all in Tuscaloosa. Here for you, here for your whole family. Go hiking or mountain biking, try paddleboarding or kayaking, witness our civil rights trail or an ancient Native American city. Eat our barbecue or hamburgers, enjoy our nightlife or music scene. And when you plan your Tuscaloosa getaway, plan to stay a while. Head to visittuscaloosa.com for your free visitor's guide.
The tradition of giving fine art continues with the Daniel A. Moore Alabama Christmas Gift Pack, including the new 2022 Crimson and White Fine Art Calendar, featuring some of the most honored former Alabama players, one collegiate classic fine art print signed by the artist, and your choice of 4 Daniel A. Moore beverage mugs, all for only $79, a $115 value. Order now at danielmooreart.com or by calling 1-800-735-2787.
Barry Buckner for Genesis of Tuscaloosa. You heard it said, affordable luxury. But when it comes to affordable service, every new Genesis we sell comes with 3-year, 36,000-mile complimentary service. If you want to pay more, that's your business. If you want to save, that's our business. GenesisofTuscaloosa.com.
Ownership limitations may apply. See your retailer for details. Genesis reserves the right to change program without notice. Exclusions may apply.
Game day will never be the same because Pearl River Resort is introducing all new ways to win with Sportsbook at Golden Moon Casino. This is your ticket to Vegas-style sports betting, and it's game time. Place your bets on dozens of high-impact sports matchups anytime at the Timeout Lounge. And as always, play over 1,100 Vegas-style slots, 25 table games, and our 14-table poker room. Pearl River Resort is redefining what it means to win with Sportsbook at Golden Moon Casino. We're not just fans. We're here to play.
You can't spell Alabama without the Bama. And you can't spell Floribama without the Bama. That's not the only thing that Alabama football and the Floribama have in common. There's heritage and pride. And, of course, keeping the fans happy. For 57 years, this iconic honky-tonk on the Alabama state line has been keeping our customers happy with the utmost attention on customer service. Great food, live music 365 days a year, and more events than we have time to list. Get the info you need at Floribama.com. Make your plans to join us on the line.
The Great Smoky Mountains area has some of the best fall drives in the nation. One of the most interesting and beautiful of these can be found on the way to Bluff Mountain. This fall, the best view is yours on Sevierville's Bluff Mountain Fall Driving Tour. Learn more and find additional fall drives to enjoy at visitsevierville.com/fall.
Alabama against New Mexico State. That's an 11 o'clock kickoff, the final tune-up before Alabama goes to the stretch run and plays Arkansas and then in the Iron Bowl. And today's matchups brought to you by Yuengling Lager, America's oldest brewery. Our friend Cheryl Yuengling went to Alabama right here in Tuscaloosa, a 6th-generation company owner. Cheryl, who's part of the ownership, her dad's been running the company. Now her and her 3 sisters are doing the same. Is a proud Alabama grad, as I mentioned. She puts a little bit of crimson love in each one of those green bottles. Also, it's that time of year to try the Yuengling Hershey's Porter. That is out now, and that is definitely worth a try. This time of year is great. Yeah, thumbs up from the folks in the audience as they've tried it as well. All right.
I was getting some flack for that the other night. I had some Hershey's Porters, actually, and I was with some youngsters there. What's this Yuengling Porter all about? They tried it, and they loved it. It is the best beer. It's seasonal, so get it while you can, guys. This is not my promo, but I'm going to hype it up. No. What a beer.
No, and like everybody's into like the pumpkin beers. I'm not a pumpkin beer guy, but I do like a Hershey's Porter from Yuengling. It really is awesome, and if you can get it on draft, you can go down to R&R. They have it on draft. It's definitely worth it. Well, let's talk about this matchup. Alabama against New Mexico State. William Anderson Jr. starting to get compared to Derek Thomas, DT, one of the all-time greats, not just in Alabama, but in the NFL. Are those fair comparisons?
I don't want to make that comparison yet, but there is a comparison that was brought up this week, and I'm really glad I forgot who asked this at the press conference, but Jameson Williams, the receiver, was doing player interviews this week, and, they asked him, can Will Anderson win the Heisman? And my first thought was, well, hey, he played with Chase Young, the other edge rush that was kind of in this conversation, and he brought that comparison into play and said, I played with Chase Young. This guy is just as good, and different players, but that's high praise from Jameson Williams there. I'm not going to say that Will Anderson Jr. is Derek Thomas quite yet, but he is certainly on the way. And it seems like every game this season he's just gotten better. Crazy.
Yeah, and it's amazing. Like, he's got another year of college eligibility before he can go to the NFL. I mean, if this was his year, I think he'd be a first-round pick. Yeah, maybe the first pick,
I was going to say, number 1 overall.
Could be.
Why not?
This guy's definitely poised to help Alabama. And, I mean, he's really in these close games made so many big plays to help Alabama with only one loss this year. That was at Texas A&M. You talk about him. Could he possibly win the Heisman as a defensive player? I mean, it hardly ever happens.
Yeah, I mean, it never happens. And you look at that one loss, Will Anderson was still the best player in that game, even when they lost it. So, Heisman talks, that's a stretch. The Heisman Trophy is incredibly difficult to win. And, Alabama's had a great run recently. They had a receiver win it last year. So anything is possible. But, this trophy is a pretty difficult one to win. I think his teammate Bryce Young has the best chance at this point. I think he's going to continue to pad those stats and, just continue to perform and get better. But, these two are both just growing leaders, and they're both still so young in this game and getting better every week. So I think it's, it could turn into a dog hunt between those two. Hopefully they don't take the votes away from each other. But, it's realistic. If we see Will Anderson come out and perform like he did last Saturday and, the Saturday before that every single week, I don't see why not. Chase Young, I think, was a good stepping stone to even have this conversation. He opened the door for edge rush to win the Heisman, and now Will Anderson is coming in. He's going to be the Tim Tebow, I think.
Yeah, it's crazy to think that right now Bryce Young is the odds-on favorite to win the Heisman Trophy. I don't think he really has had the Heisman moment yet, but I also know that if he wasn't Alabama's quarterback, then Alabama probably would have lost at least 3 games right now. I mean, he's kind of been that guy who's found a way to avoid all the pressure. He's made the big passes. He's done an excellent job.
He's unbelievable at this point is the word I would use to describe it. And, you look at last season, he looked not great, to put it plainly. I mean, super inconsistent at the least, and it was limited minutes. And, obviously he did a lot of growing, not just physically, but mentally as well this offseason. For as much flack as Bill O'Brien has gotten in these recent weeks, I think it was key. It was absolutely key for Bill O'Brien to get here when he did, because the thing I kind of noticed at practice and throughout that first, few months with Bill O'Brien was he was basically Bryce Young's one-on-one coach that whole time. I mean, he was working with everybody, but Bryce Young and Bill O'Brien were attached at the waist for about 3 weeks. I think he got him to that level, at least mentally, to make those decisions that we see every Saturday. And that's been the most impressive part to me. The kid can scramble. He can throw the ball incredibly well. He can run the ball, we figured out. But just the decision making, the throw it away in this situation, throw it here, run it. It's been impeccable. The numbers prove it. And while he doesn't have that Heisman moment, I think he's on his way to maybe getting that Heisman moment. And at this point, I think that's all he needs to really be the front runner in this thing.
As you hang out with us, maybe you're listening on Jocks Radio, Birmingham, Tuscaloosa on game day, or around the state of Alabama. For those of you that are watching on the Bama Insider YouTube channel, shout out to Homegrown Cowboy, the $10 super chat. And for those that are not familiar with that, that's kind of like a tip for doing the show. We appreciate those a whole lot as he watches and says hello, everyone from Sulphur Springs, Texas.
Oh, there we go.
Well, howdy, man. We were just talking about the Lone Star State. All right, let's get back into talking about this football team. Despite all of the issues, despite all of the problems, Alabama again this week, number 2 in the college football playoff rankings with a loss, far behind Georgia, but still number 2 ahead of everyone else.
Well, you say problems in this, whatever. If you were to look at this team as an alien from outer space, looking them, up against every other team in college football, you don't talk about these problems and the things that we like to talk about here on Bama Insider, and you guys like to talk about in the chat. But it's good, to be nitpicky and kind of break it down like that. But overall, Alabama is still the second best team in the country. There's no doubt about it. And I think a lot of that judgment and a lot of the nitpicking comes when you put them up against the number 1 team in the country, Georgia, because Georgia is elite this season. Elite defense, they have an elite running back core. Stetson Bennett has come along and looked elite himself. So that's an elite team. Alabama, as far as the rest of the country goes, is elite in their own class. I mean, we were talking about Michigan State a week ago right now, and even schools like Cincinnati and Oregon. We're watching Cincinnati only up by 2 touchdowns on a 2-7 team here, and they were only up, they were tied midway through the second quarter. Alabama, I think, is still in a class of their own, as much as Georgia has maybe separated themselves in that argument. I just don't want to, throw in the towel there yet. I think that there's a lot of improvement to do, and while Alabama doesn't have that number 1, that force kind of team like we've seen in the past, like we saw last year, they're still very capable, and that number 2 ranking is still incredibly accurate in my opinion.
All right, so what are you looking for in today's game?
I'm looking for a lot of youth. I'm looking for a lot of adjustments. A lot of kids that are going to get their chance. Ajay Hall, we've seen you on Twitter, man. We've seen you, getting frustrated. I think this is your chance tomorrow. You look at players like J.C. Latham, Dallas Turner, Kool-Aid McKinstry, even guys like Jalen Milroe, maybe a Kamar Wheaton, a lot of these young names. And, I don't want to get too far off topic here, Mick. I'm a big Pirates fan. It's not easy to watch the Pirates right now because they don't have a lot of talent at the big league level, but it's fun watching the youth get up and play and get these reps. I think that's what tomorrow is going to feel like. We'll keep in Bryce Young. You're going to see Brian Robinson. You're going to see the starters for a little bit, but a 1-8 New Mexico State team, I think you see this lead get up pretty fast. And from there, I think we see Jalen Milroe and, maybe a little bit of Paul Tyson and the rest of these young receivers. I'm excited for that, if nothing else. I don't think it's going to be a super interesting football game, but the little things that are going on inside of it, I think are going to be really interesting tomorrow.
Yeah, I feel like Alabama really has to play some of these guys. I mean, you got 2 transfers. Don't think that Nick Saban isn't paying attention to that. If you want to keep these guys around, they want to play, they want to get into these games. This game against New Mexico State is obviously an opportunity to do that and just give someone the chance to wear the uniform and get out on the field and feel like they're part of something. When you're creaming everyone, it's one thing, like, hey, I'm on the sideline, there's a better guy in. I think that some of the young guys are getting frustrated with the lack of playing time, looking at what's going on with some of the starters ahead of them. I think that's a fair synopsis going into today's game.
Oh, no doubt about it. And, you talk about Ajay Hall in specific. It would be one thing if he was still behind John Mechie and Javon Baker and some of these older guys, but it's his fellow, the dudes that were in his class. It's the youngsters like JoJo Earl that are getting these reps. That's really frustrating, a guy like Ajay Hall, because we saw what he's capable of. He knows what he's capable of. And, while he maybe hasn't had as good of practices or shown as much in practice as the other guys, he's probably worked very hard and shown them a whole lot. And, in certain games, I'm with the guy. I think he should have played maybe against, I don't know, one of those early games, Southern Miss or, one of these, gotten some targets in those games. And I was surprised when we didn't see that. I don't think it's good to go, turn to Twitter and make a tweet about how frustrated you are. But you know what? I get it. And if we don't see a change tomorrow, I'm not going to side with the athletic department on this one. I got to go with the players. I mean, these guys deserve a chance. Maybe not up until this point, but if we don't see it tomorrow, that's when you start to wonder a little bit.
This is the Bama Insider Tailgate Show presented by Tuscaloosa Hyundai, the Elantra, the Sinatra, or an SUV like the Tucson. Tailgating does not get any better.
Game day will never be the same because Pearl River Resort is introducing all new ways to win with Sportsbook at Golden Moon Casino. This is your ticket to Vegas-style sports betting, and it's game time. Place your bets on dozens of high-impact sports matchups anytime at the Timeout Lounge. And as always, play over 1,100 Vegas-style slots, 25 table games, and our 14-table poker room. Pearl River Resort is redefining what it means to win with Sportsbook at Golden Moon Casino. We're not just fans. We're here to play.
Introducing Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer. For those who don't follow trends, but craft them. Flight by Yingling is 12 ounces of uncompromised refreshment from America's oldest brewery. With only 2.6 grams of carbs and 95 calories, this is premium refreshment 6 generations in the making. Don't just raise a glass, raise the bar. Flight by Yingling. Now available wherever beer is sold. PG Yingling & Son Incorporated. Pottsville, Pennsylvania. Please enjoy responsibly.
Thinking about trading or selling your current vehicle? Make sure you get more. Barry Buckner for Tuscaloosa Hyundai. It's been an amazing year, and to keep it going, we need your car. We'll buy your car even if you don't buy one of ours, and we'll pay you more for it. Trading or selling? At Tuscaloosa Hyundai, get more. Corner of Skyland and Hargrove.
TuscaloosaHyundai.com. See dealer for vehicle value details.
R&R Cigars invites you to the Cigar Mansion in downtown Tuscaloosa, or the newest location in Northport in the Winn-Dixie Shopping Center. Now 2 awesome locations serving Tuscaloosa and Northport. The best cigar selection and bourbon in the Southeast awaits you. R&R Cigar is your home for all sports. Outsource your man cave to R&R. Get a cigar in Yingling for $10 when you tell them Mick sent you. 2703 6th Street, downtown Tuscaloosa near Home 2 Suites, or Northport next to Winn-Dixie. TheCigarMansion.com.
Do you consider yourself a black sheep, misfit, or screwball? If so, we've got the perfect drink for you. Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey. Screwball combines two of America's favorite, peanut butter and whiskey. Enjoy it neat, on the rocks, or in your favorite cocktail. Screwball, the original most awarded peanut butter whiskey, is now available near you. Go to screwballwhiskey.com for more information. Enjoy responsibly.
Advertisement by Screwball Spirits, LLC, San Diego, California. Whiskey with natural flavors, 35% alcohol by volume.
Barry Buckner for Genesis of Tuscaloosa. You heard it said, affordable luxury. But when it comes to affordable service, every new Genesis we sell comes with 3-year, 36,000-mile complimentary service. If you want to pay more, that's your business. If you want to save, that's our business. GenesisofTuscaloosa.com.
Ownership limitations may apply. See your retailer for details. Genesis reserves the right to change program without notice. Exclusions may apply.
Game day will never be the same because Pearl River Resort is introducing all new ways to win with Sportsbook at Golden Moon Casino. This is your ticket to Vegas-style sports betting, and it's game time. Place your bets on dozens of high-impact sports matchups anytime at the Timeout Lounge. And as always, play over 1,100 Vegas-style slots, 25 table games, and our 14-table poker room. Pearl River Resort is redefining what it means to win with Sportsbook at Golden Moon Casino. We're not just fans. We're here to play.
The Great Smoky Mountains area has some of the best fall drives in the nation. One of the most interesting and beautiful of these can be found on the way to Bluff Mountain. This fall, the best view is yours on Sevierville's Bluff Mountain Fall Driving Tour. Learn more and find additional fall drives to enjoy at visitsevierville.com/fall.
Back in on the Bama Insider Tailgate Show as we talk to you today from InnisFree and Tuscaloosa. Our remote is brought to you by Screwball, the original peanut butter whiskey. And don't forget, the Bama Insider Tailgate Show is always presented by Yuengling. That's right, America's oldest brewery. Hey, guys, when I go to Tuscaloosa, there's only one spot for me to stay, and that is right here. For those of you that are watching on the Bama Insider YouTube channel, you're actually looking at it, and if you're listening on radio right now, Jocks 2, Tuscaloosa, Birmingham, or around the state, it is Hotel Indigo. We're looking at Hotel Indigo right now. It's gorgeous right there on the Black Warrior River. You're talking about very, very spectacular rooms. You got the bar, the rooftop bar, which is awesome. Watched a little bit of the football game from there last week. Had a great time. They have the patio out there where you can oversee the Black Warrior River. You can look over in the Northport, or if you want to walk the campus, you can do so. I walked to the game there last week. You got downtown Tuscaloosa. It really is a fantastic place, one of the best places to stay in Tuscaloosa, and the original rooftop in T-Town.
Game day will never be.
Guys, it's always great to talk to longtime friends. And this is a guy, Adam Young, who's the voice of New Mexico State, that we've been on each other's radar for a long time. But it's actually really awesome to talk to you in person for the first time. What's up, Adam?
Hey, Mick. Glad to be on today.
Let's talk about your team, New Mexico State. Now, I know the record isn't great, 1-8, trying to build the program back. You didn't get to play football last year. So this game in particular against Alabama is a program builder. What does it mean to come to T-Town and get the big check for a program like New Mexico State?
Well, it's a huge deal, Mick. Of course, it's a large paycheck, almost $2 million, and that's what helped funds the athletic department. And this is a big stretch for New Mexico State of 2 weeks. They're going to play Kentucky next week in Lexington. So this is a huge deal. And this is a little unusual because usually these money games are towards the front end of the schedule. And this year, both money games are on the back end in November. And I know for the players, you know, when you see a school like Alabama on the schedule, it really helps in recruiting. They all feel like they can play at that level. So they have something to prove coming up Saturday.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, like, that's what a lot of people complain about the schedule. I mean, just from an Alabama point of view, hey, look, they want to have more high profile games. Well, they're going to get that when Texas and Oklahoma come to the conference. But it's good to have games like this for Alabama, especially after struggling against LSU, to try to get back on the right path, particularly with their offensive line. But for you guys, this is an opportunity to help the program continue.
For sure. I mean, this is a big deal for the players. They all feel like they have something to prove. And I think for the coaches, the mindset's a little bit different. You're trying to get out of these games healthy, but, these players are jacked up about this game and about the Kentucky game. And the record is not what they hoped for, but they've been competitive, especially the last month or so. They're coming off a loss against Utah State, a team that's already bowl eligible at 7-2. And the Aggies led by 10 at the end of one quarter and led at halftime. So they've shown some strides, and now they have the gauntlet here the next couple of weeks before they finish the season at home against UMass.
Yeah, let's talk about this team. Nick Saban said in his coaching press conference that they like to throw the football.
Yeah, that is what they like to do on offense. They have a good running back, Juwan Price, but they just don't run the football much. Doug Martin's always been kind of an air raid coach. And he's also the offensive coordinator as well, so he calls the plays. And he has a good quarterback. Jonah Johnson's in his first year on the field in the program, but he was also here in 2020, like you mentioned, Mick, the year the Aggies did not play. So he knows the offense very well. He's a big quarterback. He's about 240 pounds. He's pretty mobile. He can run the football himself. And they use a lot of different wide receivers. They have two guys down. Dom Jacinto was actually in the SEC at Missouri. He was injured in week 2 and has not returned. And then Robert Downs III, who was actually the top returning wide receiver, he's out the rest of the season. But they have a pretty good depth chart of wide receivers. And Jonah Johnson will throw the ball 40-plus times a game. Juwan Price out of the backfield is good when they do run the football, but they don't run it much.
Let's talk about missing last season. I know that had to be really disappointing to the players because New Mexico State was one of the few teams that didn't play. Yeah,
it was really hard. Doug Martin has said that's kind of set the program back a couple of years. They did play 2 spring games, and they only did that mix so they could get more spring practices. Per NCAA rules, if you played a couple of spring games, you could have 29 practices instead of 15 in the spring. So they did it for the practices. They welcomed in 40-plus newcomers. A lot of guys transferred because they wanted to play in the fall of 2020, and they weren't given an opportunity here. So, it was a really big loss for the program in a lot of ways, and they've actually probably been more competitive than maybe they should have been, just because of how many new players they brought in during the course of the season. So they've tried to piece it together best as possible. They've been really competitive in a lot of the games this year, but they've really struggled, Mick, in half 2. The first half's been good. They led San Diego State at halftime by 10 early on this season, but they've struggled in quarters 3 and 4.
New conference, though, for New Mexico State. Now, that's got to be something that everyone's really looking forward to.
Yeah, that's a huge deal, especially for football. It is really hard to be an independent. When you're an independent, you have games like this where you're playing Alabama and Kentucky in back-to-back weeks in November. They're probably still going to play 2 money games, I'm sure, each year, but at least they're going to have a conference, Mick, and a conference championship to play for, bowl tie-ins, that college football playoff money. It's a big deal. And around here, it's been a while since all the sports have been in the same league because for years, football was in the Sun Belt, everything else was in the WAC. And now they can all get in the same league starting in 2023 in the Conference USA. So that's a huge deal, especially for football. Football needed to get back into a league, and Conference USA is a good fit.
What can we expect today from New Mexico State?
Well, like we talked about, they're going to throw the football a lot. They're hoping to get off to a fast start. I know it's going to be really hard against Alabama to do that, but they've been good in the first quarter this year in games, even against Nevada, which is a good program, in San Diego State as well, and even Utah State a week ago. So getting off to a fast start, I think, is huge. I go back to a couple of years ago when the Aggies were in Tuscaloosa, and the Crimson Tide jumped on them pretty early, and they need to avoid that on Saturday as well. And get out of it healthy. That's the biggest thing for the coaches, is find a way to get out of it healthy. And I know for the players individually too, they're trying to put on good tape as well. They're trying to show folks that they can, play with the SEC which they all believe they can, Mick. They all believe they can until they actually do it. So we'll see how that shapes out.
Our managing editor, Kyle Henderson's from Las Cruces. He tells us that the food there is incredible. Now, for a lot of us that haven't been, tell us when we do go to New Mexico, where we should eat. Now, I know this game's in Tuscaloosa, but he's got me curious here.
It's top notch, Mick. I'm from the St. Louis, Missouri area. So when I came here, I had no idea what I was getting into. There's a place called Andales, La Posta. I mean, there's just really good Mexican food. I'm not the year that hasn't had good Mexican food. So it's top notch. There's a number of good, like hole in the wall places. Andales is one of them, and La Posta, like I mentioned. Those are two that are sponsors as well. So we'd like to mention those over here. But as Kyle knows, I mean, it's really good food, and I had no idea what I was getting into food wise. And I've come to love it since I've been here the last handful of years.
Awesome. Well, Adam, great to talk to you today.
Likewise, Mick. Thanks for having me.
That's Adam Young, the voice of New Mexico State, the Aggies. Guys, let me remind you that as you hang out with us here on the Bama Insider YouTube channel, you like and subscribe. And don't forget, after the game, we will have the post-game show live from Westgate Luxury Condominiums. Also, as the holiday season approaches, check out newlifeart.com. Daniel Moore and the Daniel Moore print calendars are out. They feature Alabama great moments, 20% off right now if you check them out at newlifeart.com.
Game day will never be the same because Pearl River Resort is introducing all new ways to win with Sportsbook at Golden Moon Casino. This is your ticket to Vegas-style sports betting, and it's game time. Place your bets on dozens of high-impact sports matchups anytime at the Timeout Lounge. And as always, play over 1,100 Vegas-style slots, 25 table games, and our 14-table poker room. Pearl River Resort is redefining what it means to win with Sportsbook at Golden Moon Casino. We're not just fans. We're here to play.
Yingling Traditional Lager. The beer for drinkers who know how to soar higher and spread their wings. So prepare yourself for takeoff and let your night take flight. Liftoff. When your lips meet that cold, crisp amber lager, there's no looking back. So go for glory. Tonight's about the lager, and this lager is all about soaring higher. Yingling Traditional Lager. Spread your wings. DJ Yingling & Son, Pottsville, Pennsylvania. Please drink responsibly.
Thinking about trading or selling your current vehicle? Make sure you get more. Barry Buckner for Tuscaloosa Hyundai. It's been an amazing year, and to keep it going, we need your car. We'll buy your car even if you don't buy one of ours, and we'll pay you more for it. Trading or selling at Tuscaloosa Hyundai, get more. Corner of Skyland and Hargrove.
TuscaloosaHyundai.com. See dealer for vehicle value details.
The city of Tuscaloosa offers you the combination of great adventures and great overnight accommodations. From exciting sports to unbelievable history, you'll find it all in Tuscaloosa. Here for you, here for your whole family. Go hiking or mountain biking, try paddleboarding or kayaking, witness our civil rights trail or an ancient Native American city. Eat our barbecue or hamburgers, enjoy our nightlife or music scene. And when you plan your Tuscaloosa getaway, plan to stay a while. Head to visittuscaloosa.com for your free visitor's guide.
The tradition of giving fine art continues with the Daniel A. Moore Alabama Christmas Gift Pack, including the new 2022 Crimson and White Fine Art Calendar, featuring some of the most honored former Alabama players, one collegiate classic fine art print signed by the artist, and your choice of 4 Daniel A. Moore beverage mugs, all for only $79, a $115 value. Order now at danielmooreart.com or by calling 1-800-735-2787.
Barry Buckner for Genesis of Tuscaloosa. You've heard it said, affordable luxury. But when it comes to affordable service, every new Genesis we sell comes with 3-year, 36,000-mile complimentary service. If you want to pay more, that's your business. If you want to save, that's our business. GenesisofTuscaloosa.com.
Ownership limitations may apply. See your retailer for details. Genesis reserves the right to change program without notice. Exclusions may apply.
Game day will never be the same because Pearl River Resort is introducing all new ways to win with Sportsbook at Golden Moon Casino. This is your ticket to Vegas-style sports betting, and it's game time. Place your bets on dozens of high-impact sports matchups anytime at the Timeout Lounge. And as always, play over 1,100 Vegas-style slots, 25 table games, and our 14-table poker room. Pearl River Resort is redefining what it means to win with Sportsbook at Golden Moon Casino. We're not just fans. We're here to play.
You can't spell Alabama without the Bama. And you can't spell Floribama without the Bama. That's not the only thing that Alabama football and the Floribama have in common. There's heritage and pride. And, of course, keeping the fans happy. For 57 years, this iconic honky-tonk on the Alabama state line has been keeping our customers happy with the utmost attention on customer service. Great food, live music 365 days a year, and more events than we have time to list. Get the info you need at Floribama.com. Make your plans to join us on the line.
The Great Smoky Mountains area has some of the best fall drives in the nation. One of the most interesting and beautiful of these can be found on the way to Bluff Mountain. This fall, the best view is yours on Sevierville's Bluff Mountain Fall Driving Tour. Learn more and find additional fall drives to enjoy at visitsevierville.com/fall.
Welcome back into the Bama Insider Tailgate Show, brought to you by Yuengling Lager. And hanging out with you, our remote is presented by Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey from InnisFree in downtown Tuscaloosa. Well, the Strip in Tuscaloosa, near campus. So kind of in between downtown and Bryant-Denny Stadium. But always great to talk with Andrew Bone. This segment is presented by Sevierville. Your Smokies start here.
This fall, the best view is yours on Sevierville's Bluff Mountain Fall Driving Tour. Learn more and find additional fall drives to enjoy at visitsevierville.com/fall.
Oh, that looks beautiful right there, Bone. You got to admit, it'd be a great time to go take a tour of Sevierville and the Smoky Mountains. But what we are talking about with you is the latest in Alabama's recruiting. Give us a tour of this Crimson Tide recruiting class leading into the New Mexico State game at 11 o'clock.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, currently sitting with 19 commitments, the number 2 overall recruiting class in the country. I know some sites have them number 1, but guess what? We're a few months away until that, until the very end, which is February. I know a lot of people kind of think this early signing period is the end of it. It's not. I mean, most of these guys go ahead and sign, but there's still a straggler or two who decide to wait all the way until February. So we won't know the final rankings until February. But in December we should have a pretty good idea. But it's going to flip-flop back and forth between, a few different programs. And, everybody was trying to finish number 1. But, hey, if you finish with a top 5 recruiting class, if you finish with a top 10 recruiting class, you should be competing. You should be competing for conference championships. You should be competing for national championships. It's all about coaching once these kids get on campus. Of course, they got to de-recruit them a little bit because they've been told how great they are by people like me for the last couple of years. And now they got to get to college and really develop and hopefully live up to these expectations. But, obviously Alabama has a terrific recruiting class so far. Let's start on the offense side of the ball. Obviously, Ty Simpson, quarterback commitment's been committed to Alabama, I think since February. I mean, this has been a long time commitment. It's been a big recruiter for Alabama, and certainly the face of Alabama's recruiting class. Staying on the offense, you got some big offensive linemen. 2 of the very best offensive linemen in the country, and Tyler Booker and Elijah Pritchett. I think Alabama is really excited about those 2 guys. Dane Shore got hurt during his junior season, right before the start of his junior season. Didn't get a chance to play as a senior either. So really haven't seen him since the sophomore year. So I'm really interested, how has he developed, over the course of the last couple of years since he hasn't been playing. I know he's been working out and training and working with an offensive line coach, but, not being on the field, might take him just a little bit of time to develop and, get back into it once he gets down to Tuscaloosa. Wide receivers, really excited about these guys. Kobe Prentice and Aaron Anderson, two of the most explosive football players in the country. I think, we're probably going to see Kobe Prentice's ranking, really shoot up in the next rankings update here in December. So wouldn't be surprised if we saw him in the top 100. And then you got to be excited about this tight end class. I mean, you got Elijah Brown, kind of your, prototypical, blocker / can go out and catch passes. I mean, he's 6'5", 235 pounds. He's a big dude, very physical. I think Alabama fans don't talk about him enough, because you see guys like Jaleel Skinner, Amari Knee-Black, who are two most explosive athletes, tight ends, can be pass catchers. But Elijah Brown is your complete tight end. I mean, this is a really good football player that they should be really excited about. But obviously with Jaleel Skinner, Amari Knee-Black, who can play tight end, wide receiver, potentially outside linebacker. I don't see him playing outside linebacker. I think he's going to be on the offense side of the ball. But everyone's got to be excited about him. And obviously Emanuel Henderson, another superstar that I think Alabama coaches are really excited about. I think they're still trying to figure out exactly which position he's going to play once he gets to Alabama. I mean, he's 6'1", about 195 pounds. People kind of see him as a running back. Some see him as a wide receiver. He's not going to play defense. I think he's strictly an offensive guy, but they're going to kind of figure that out once he gets on campus. And then, you're looking at the defense side of the ball. They picked up a big defensive line commitment earlier this week in Isaiah Hastings, originally from Toronto, Canada, moved down to the U.S. Back in June, 6'5", 295 pounds. I think he's just scratching the surface of how good he can be. Big Jaheim Otis, who's monster in the middle at 6'5", 300 and north of 350. Let's just say that. I think once they kind of get his weight under control, he's got a chance to really be a special player down in Tuscaloosa. I know a lot of people, see that big D lineman over in Athens, Jordan Davis, and hoping that Jaheim Otis could potentially be that type of player here in the next couple of years for the Crimson Tide. Linebacker-wise, two of the best linebackers in the country. Sean Murphy, 5-star out of Virginia, also have 5-star. Edge rusher Jeremiah Alexander out of Thompson High School. I think those two guys are really elite, and definitely two guys that Alabama, really likes a lot. And then defensive back-wise, Traquan Fagans, Antonio Kite, Jake Pope. I still think there's some guys out there that they can potentially land over the course of the next month or so. But this is a great class. I mean, this is certainly a top 2 recruiting class in the country right now, and it's only going to get better.
How many spots do they have left?
But everybody always asks me that. And, I always ask the people that I trust, that I reach out to, and there's never really a number. They're always trying to get the best players that they can possibly get. Now, I don't see them signing more than 27, 28 guys. I think that's kind of the number. They're not signing 30, but they're also not signing just 25. I think there's possibly a couple guys in the class right now. And like I said, there's 19 commitments. I think there's possibly 1 or 2 guys who could end up going elsewhere, or potentially one guy who's might be going to JUCO to begin his college career. But I think Alabama right now probably looking at adding about 10 more guys to this recruiting class, and there's still some big names that are out there that have high interest in the Crimson Tide.
Okay, well, and then the final question for you, Bone, is about Arch Manning. I've got to ask you about Arch Manning as much as I can, because the entire world is wondering where Arch Manning is going to go to college. Texas and Georgia and Clemson and Alabama all have kind of had this, hey, the guy's visited, maybe he likes this school or that school. Where do you think? And what's the latest?
If I had to make a prediction today, I'd probably say Texas, just because I think he's got a really close relationship with Steve Sarkisian. But I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that it's going to be Texas. That's just kind of the feeling that it is right now. Now, he's visited a lot of schools this fall. Visited Alabama, visited Clemson, Georgia, Ole Miss, Texas. I think he's probably taken some other trips, but those are kind of the main ones. And he took those visits also during the summer. So those are kind of the top contenders for him. He's going to take probably some junior days. And I don't think he's going to decide, in the next month or two, but I also don't think he's going to wait all the way until signing day next year. I think it's probably going to be like a summer decision, probably before he starts his senior season, so that he can completely focus on that. But Alabama's still in it, and they're certainly going to be pushing for him. And I know that Alabama fans are wondering, can Alabama end up getting Arch Manning after they signed Ty Simpson in this year's class? Well, Bryce Young coming back next year, I think that kind of opens the door, because it's not like Ty's probably not going to be coming in and starting right away. That competition is going to be wide open, so that's kind of what Alabama's going to be doing. They're going to be recruiting him, even though I think Ty is going to be the guy. I mean, I think Ty's a really special quarterback, and I think that's obviously why Alabama recruited him. But it doesn't matter. Alabama's going to try to recruit the best player at each position in every single class. They're not going to say, all right, we got a 5-star this year, let's go and get somebody that's not as good next year. They're always going to try to go get the best player, and they're going to play the best player. And they've proven that year after year. So even though they get Ty this year, they're still going to go after Arch and whoever they can get next year. And they're going to they're going to go after the number one quarterback in the 2022 class.
That's right. That's right.
Class. They're going to continue to do that. They're going to try to go after the best possible player they can potentially sign.
All right, Bone, 30 seconds. Tell us about Andrew J. Bone Realty.
Absolutely. Well, if you're looking to buy or sell any residential real estate, or we also do some commercial stuff, and we'd be more than happy to help you. Just reach out to us at 205-531-5577. We are in the Birmingham and Tuscaloosa market, so give us a call.
He's Andrew J. Bone, the best in the business. You can watch his work on the Bama Insider YouTube channel. You can read it at BamaInsider.com. He's been covering the Crimson Tide before Nick Saban even got there. If you can believe there was a time before Nick Saban, and he's our good friend. Thanks for joining us on the show, Bone, and we'll do it again next week when Alabama takes on Arkansas.
Sounds great. Thanks, man.
When we come back, second hour of the show, don't go anywhere. More Bama Insider Tailgate Show coming up next.
Yingling Traditional Lager, the beer for drinkers who know how to soar higher and spread their wings. So prepare yourself for takeoff and let your night take flight. Liftoff. When your lips meet that cold, crisp amber lager, there's no looking back. So go for glory. Tonight's about the lager, and this lager is all about soaring higher. Yingling Traditional Lager. Spread your wings. DJ Yingling & Son, Pottsville, Pennsylvania. Please drink responsibly.
Thinking about trading or selling your current vehicle? Make sure you get more. Barry Buckner for Tuscaloosa Hyundai. It's been an amazing year, and to keep it going, we need your car. We'll buy your car even if you don't buy one of ours, and we'll pay you more for it. Trading or selling at Tuscaloosa Hyundai, get more. Corner of Skyland and Hargrove.
TuscaloosaHyundai.com. See dealer for vehicle value details.
The city of Tuscaloosa offers you the combination of great adventures and great overnight accommodations. From exciting sports to unbelievable history, you'll find it all in Tuscaloosa. Here for you, here for your whole family. Go hiking or mountain biking, try paddleboarding or kayaking, witness our civil rights trail or an ancient Native American city. Eat our barbecue or hamburgers, enjoy our nightlife or music scene. And when you plan your Tuscaloosa getaway, plan to stay a while. Head to visittuscaloosa.com for your free visitor's guide.
R&R Cigars invites you to the Cigar Mansion in downtown Tuscaloosa, or the newest location in Northport in the Winn-Dixie Shopping Center. Now 2 awesome locations serving Tuscaloosa and Northport. The best cigar selection and bourbon in the Southeast awaits you. R&R Cigar is your home for all sports. Outsource your man cave to R&R. Get a cigar in Yingling for $10 when you tell them Mick sent you. 2703 6th Street, downtown Tuscaloosa near Home 2 Suites, or Northport next to Winn-Dixie. TheCigarMansion.com.
Barry Buckner for Genesis of Tuscaloosa. You heard it said, affordable luxury. But when it comes to affordable service, Every new Genesis we sell comes with 3-year, 36,000-mile complimentary service. If you want to pay more, that's your business. If you want to save, that's our business. GenesisofTuscaloosa.com.
Ownership limitations may apply. See your retailer for details. Genesis reserves the right to change program without notice. Exclusions may apply.
Game day will never be the same because Pearl River Resort is introducing all new ways to win with Sportsbook at Golden Moon Casino. This is your ticket to Vegas-style sports betting, and it's game time. Place your bets on dozens of high-impact sports matchups anytime at the Timeout Lounge. And as always, play over 1,100 Vegas-style slots, 25 table games, and our 14-table poker room. Pearl River Resort is redefining what it means to win with Sportsbook at Golden Moon Casino. We're not just fans. We're here to play.
Experience the true spirit of Tuscaloosa at Hotel Indigo, downtown's first waterfront hotel overlooking the Black Warrior River. Hotel Indigo is perfectly located near a myriad of unique shops, restaurants, and the Tuscaloosa Amphitheater. You rolling with the tide? Hotel Indigo is less than a mile from the University of Alabama. The lookout bar on the roof of Hotel Indigo is the best place in Tuscaloosa to enjoy great views, appetizers, and spirits with friends. Book Hotel Indigo now and enjoy the best of Tuscaloosa.
The Great Smoky Mountains area has some of the best fall drives in the nation. One of the most interesting and beautiful of these can be found on the way to Bluff Mountain. This fall, the best view is yours on Sevierville's Bluff Mountain Fall Driving Tour. Learn more and find additional fall drives to enjoy at visitsevierville.com/fall.
Second hour of the Bama Insider Tailgate Show starts now. Alabama against New Mexico State. Early game, 11 a.m. at Bryant-Denny Stadium. A tune-up for the Crimson Tide. We appreciate you being here with us on the Bama Insider Tailgate Show, always brought to you by America's oldest brewery, Yuengling Lager. And our show remote from InnisFree on the Strip in Tuscaloosa is presented by Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey. All right, the second hour of the show always begins with Genesis of Tuscaloosa. Let's hear from our good buddy, Barry Buckner.
When we say goodbye to a new owner at Genesis of Tuscaloosa, we are very sincere. They may never have to come back to the dealership. With our Genesis Valet service, we pick up your vehicle at your home or office and return it after the service. And all maintenance performed by our service department is ranked #1 in the nation. Genesis of Tuscaloosa, you're going to like buying a car here. GenesisofTuscaloosa.com.
Always great to hear from Barry Buckner. Trading your current vehicle for a new one or trying to sell your car, we can help. Check them out online, GenesisofTuscaloosa.com. Well, the second hour starts with our contact down in Texas. His name is Kevin Lonnquist. He's from SicEmSports.com, covering the recruiting scene down in Waco. And his daughter goes to Alabama, so he's got the Crimson Tide ties. Great to have you, and welcome to the show.
Great to be with you, Mick. Thanks for having me.
Hey, no problem. Now, you've been covering Texas football for a long time. Alabama has dipped into Texas. They dominated the recruiting scene in the Lone Star State last year. A couple of the guys on the team right now that are impact players for Alabama. One, unfortunately, maybe the biggest loss Alabama's had this year with Chase McClellan, JoJo Earl, both guys that you saw as a preps.
Yeah, saw both JoJo Earl and Jace McClellan. I do Alito Radio. I've been doing Alito Radio for the last 16 years. So I saw these guys from the start of their careers to the conclusion when they obviously signed and brought Alito State championships. And I think real quickly on both Jace and JoJo, with Jace is obviously he's a guy that has great hands. And the one thing I noticed about him as a freshman was how well he was catching the ball out of the backfield.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, if this game translates to the collegiate level, because remember, he committed to Oklahoma as a sophomore, was if somebody uses him in the passing game, he could be a real threat there. And it's obviously turned out that way, the way Alabama was using him in the early portion of the season before he went down. And so the fact that he's kind of got that dual package threat has been nothing but a benefit for he was a benefit for Alito, of course. And of course, you could start to see that develop a lot more at Alabama until he got hurt. In JoJo's case, I know from his standpoint that he's a real cerebral kid, understands the game. I know that Alabama's been using him on punt returns primarily toward the latter half of this season. But he's a kid that actually such a great athlete that when he began his career, that he was actually used in the secondary as a matchup corner against the opposing team's best wide receiver. In fact, he was given it maybe 6 inches in his first high school playoff game that he was competing in, a kid who wound up going to Texas Tech. But the one thing about JoJo is the fact that he just has this elusiveness, if you want to call it that unique ability of making guys slip off of him when they think they've got him wrapped up. And I think the way he came into Alabama this year, just the things that I read on him, is how he took to the system as quickly as he did, developed into a part of what the Crimson Tide wanted to do. Defend offensively, it was very, very impressive to me, but not surprising because that's the kind of kid JoJo is.
Well, McClellan's loss has totally devastated Alabama's offense in certain sets. I mean, and his explosiveness catching the ball was something that really helped Bryce Young early in the season. Alabama has not found an answer for McClellan since his injury. And I think if he plays at Texas A&M, Alabama wins that football game, they'd be undefeated right now. He makes him a much better player, and we're still kind of waiting on Earl to emerge. Alabama busted onto the scene in Texas. It wasn't always like this. Look, they've always gotten a couple of guys from Texas, but last year and the last few years, it seems like Alabama has gone into that state and really taken the best players out.
Yeah, they've done a great job over the years. The thing about them is, of course, this all started with Texas A&M when they joined the SEC back in 2012. I think that kind of changed how not only Alabama but the rest of the conference looked at the state of Texas. It's always been a great recruiting ground for everybody nationwide, but I think because of the fact that A&M entered into the conference, I think it just really opened it up. And of course, 3 major recruiting hubs there between Dallas and Fort Worth, the greater Houston, Pasadena area. And then I would call it the corridor between Austin and San Antonio because those 2 communities are so close to each other. They're pretty much interchangeable. What I would say, though, is that it's a great message because of what they can sell. And, of course, the SEC's reputation for playing at the highest level of college football is really an attraction here. And Alabama has offered another Alito player by the name of Jason Lowell on a tight end, really creative kid. He's been committed to Oklahoma for a while here. And I don't know if the Crimson Tide will make a run on him, but he kind of reminds me of Forrestal, the tight end that Alabama had on its national championship team last year. Great hands, great blocker. The one difference, though, that I would say is I think Jason might be a little bit more of a better athlete than Forrestal was. But Jason has had this unique ability to make one-handed catches that are just make your head spin. So again, I don't know if that's a kid that Alabama would try to come in late on, kind of like what they did with Jace a couple of years ago. But it just shows you that you can pretty much go from El Paso all the way to Wascom, which is on the Louisiana border. That's about 720 miles from points west to points east. And you're always going to have, namely, about 400 Division I kids available to you. It's a question of which ones that you want to get. And again, going into Houston and Dallas-Fort Worth are going to be their 2 primary spots where they're going to go. And they've been pretty successful doing that, of course.
You've covered the Big 12 for a while. How surprising was it for you when it was announced Texas and Oklahoma were joining Texas A&M and joining the SEC here in the near future?
Well, it was pretty much of a jolt because this was a week after the Big 12 had its preseason kickoff meetings, that sort of thing. And the commissioner, Bob Bowlesby, actually was quoted saying, "I don't go to bed with sleepless nights about realignment or anything of that nature." And then voila, Texas and Oklahoma are off. That report breaks at the SEC meetings. Mm-hmm. And I think that caught everyone by surprise, stunned, of course. And I think the one thing that the Big 12 had to do is they did the right thing in the initial part of this whole process was, what's the first thing you do in a crisis? Do nothing. Kind of let everything kind of subside, let the shock and awe of it wear off, and then kind of gather yourselves to see where you go next. And the one thing that Bob Bowlesby tried to do is see if there could be some sort of an alignment put together with the Pac-12. When that didn't happen, then they said, okay, then we've got to align. We've got to figure out where our next steps are. And so that's where you see a month and a half later, where you see BYU, Cincinnati, Houston, and Central Florida come on. And I've said this on other stations that I've talked with. Is the Big 12 going to be at a level with these 4? Is it going to be at a level where the SEC is at? And I said, no. Is it going to be at a level where the Big 10 is at? And I said, no. primarily because the fact that it doesn't have an alpha school in it. That's kind of up in the air as to who's going to be your alpha, because your two alphas are going east now. And there's the potential, what I think the Big 12 could be is somewhat close to what the Pac-12 is right now, because their two alphas are somewhat Oregon and USC, but Oregon's kind of like still, when you're out so far west, you kind of lose some of that luster. But they could also kind of join into the same situation like the ACC, where you've had your three primary candidates to be your alphas. Clemson's had a dip year, and if that continues, then where does that leave them? Florida State's obviously been down for roughly a decade, since basically, I guess, since the 2013 national championship team. And of course, Miami's been in this dip for about 15 years. So I think the Big 12 can look at this as an opportunity of getting on even ground with the Pac-12 and the ACC, but still, it's going to require one or two of those schools to make that jump. And I think the only candidate that I could see, because I don't think it's going to come from the four new schools. I think your schools are going to come from possibly like the likes of Oklahoma State. And then after that, it's kind of up in the air after that. Maybe a Kansas, only if Kansas can really get its act together in football. And that's going to be a long way away from doing that. I do think Baylor could have a shot at that, because obviously their basketball program is at a national championship level, as we saw. Great job. It's a case of, I said privates would be hard, but I think in Baylor's case, because they're so structurally centered right in the middle of the state of Texas, I think that kind of gives them some help there. And of course, they have Dave Aranda, who's coming from the SEC and understands the landscape of the SEC to help maybe put Baylor in that position.
Very interesting. Well, look, quickly tell us what you think about the Oklahoma-Baylor game. You cover Baylor on a daily basis. This game started out at 21 plus for Oklahoma. And all of a sudden I look at it now and you're talking about, giving up 5.5 in this game. So Oklahoma and this spread has just kind of shrunk down. Very interesting matchup. Number 8 against number 12. Oklahoma still undefeated, not getting a lot of respect at 9-0, and Baylor at 7-2, one of the highest 2-loss teams in the country. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I think the one thing about this game is that it's going to come down to what Baylor's secondary can do. They've had some issues over the last 3 or 4 weeks. Pass rush has also been a little suspect there. They can run the football as well as anybody in the conference, led by Abram Smith, their 1,000-yard rusher. It's an 11 o'clock kickoff. Fox Big Noon kickoff show is preceding that, so they've kind of got some hoopla going there for that. Obviously, with Caleb Williams, the new Oklahoma starting quarterback, he's going to be a problem to deal with. But I will say, in the history of these matchups, recent matchups, even though Oklahoma has won all of them, Baylor has really given them a lot of fits. So I could see this being a one-score game. I do favor Oklahoma maybe to cover that line at 5.5. But I do think Baylor can give them a real push in this game. I think the other thing that comes down for Baylor is what kind of quarterback play can they get from Gary Bohannon, their starting quarterback. Got off to a great start, but he's thrown 4 interceptions in his last 50 pass attempts, including the backbreaker when they lost at TCU last week.
Yeah, great stuff. Kevin Lundquist, you know him from SicEmSports.com. Check out his work, and thanks for joining us. Hey, let me remind you guys, as we just got the breakdown of that Baylor-Oklahoma game, Jeff Cameron is coming up next, and that'll be our recruiting segment that we do each and every week. And it's brought to you by Pearl River Resort and the Timeout Sports Lounge in Philadelphia. They give you a great place to play the odds. Coming up, we make our picks. We've got Leonard's Loser for you. All that in the Bama Insider Tailgate Show rolls on right after this.
Yingling Traditional Lager. The beer for drinkers who know how to soar higher and spread their wings. So prepare yourself for takeoff and let your night take flight. Liftoff. When your lips meet that cold, crisp amber lager, there's no looking back. So go for glory. Tonight's about the lager, and this lager is all about soaring higher. Yingling Traditional Lager. Spread your wings. DJ Yingling & Son, Pottsville, Pennsylvania. Please drink responsibly.
Thinking about trading or selling your current vehicle? Make sure you get more. Barry Buckner for Tuscaloosa Hyundai. It's been an amazing year, and to keep it going, we need your car. We'll buy your car even if you don't buy one of ours, and we'll pay you more for it. Trading or selling at Tuscaloosa Hyundai, get more. Corner of Skyland and Hargrove.
TuscaloosaHyundai.com. See dealer for vehicle value details.
The tradition of giving fine art continues with the Daniel A. Moore Alabama Christmas Gift Pack, including the new 2022 Crimson and White Fine Art Calendar, featuring some of the most honored former Alabama players, one collegiate classic fine art print signed by the artist, and your choice of 4 Daniel A. Moore beverage mugs, all for only $79, a $115 value. Order now at danielmooreart.com or by calling 1-800-735-2787.
The city of Tuscaloosa offers you the combination of great adventures and great overnight accommodations. From exciting sports to unbelievable history, you'll find it all in Tuscaloosa. Here for you, here for your whole family. Go hiking or mountain biking, try paddleboarding or kayaking, witness our civil rights trail or an ancient Native American city. Eat our barbecue or hamburgers, enjoy our nightlife or music scene. And when you plan your Tuscaloosa getaway, plan to stay a while. Head to visittuscaloosa.com for your free visitor's guide.
Barry Buckner for Genesis of Tuscaloosa. You heard it said, affordable luxury. But when it comes to affordable service, every new Genesis we sell comes with 3-year, 36,000-mile complimentary service. If you want to pay more, that's your business. If you want to save, that's our business. GenesisofTuscaloosa.com.
Ownership limitations may apply. See your retailer for details. Genesis reserves the right to change program without notice. Exclusions may apply.
Game day will never be the same because Pearl River Resort is introducing all new ways to win with Sportsbook at Golden Moon Casino. This is your ticket to Vegas-style sports betting, and it's game time. Place your bets on dozens of high-impact sports matchups anytime at the Timeout Lounge. And as always, play over 1,100 Vegas-style slots, 25 table games, and our 14-table poker room. Pearl River Resort is redefining what it means to win with Sportsbook at Golden Moon Casino. We're not just fans. We're here to play.
The world-famous Floribama has been serving up the good times and good music since 1964. And after 57 years, we're not even close to slowing down. There's live music 365 days a year and big events all year long, including the Frank Brown International Songwriters Festival. Mark your calendar and make plans to join us on the line November 4th through the 14th for a music lovers event like no other. You'll hear the stories behind the songs from the songwriters themselves. It's a full 10 days of incredible entertainment. Make plans to join us and get all the info online at frankbrownsongwriters.com.
The Great Smoky Mountains area has some of the best fall drives in the nation. One of the most interesting and beautiful of these can be found on the way to Bluff Mountain. This fall, the best view is yours on Sevierville's Bluff Mountain Fall Driving Tour. Learn more and find additional fall drives to enjoy at visitsevierville.com/fall.
Well, howdy, football fans, and welcome to Week 4 of Leonard's Losers. The little smart pill machine was in overdrive last week at 24-8, so let's get started before she shifts to a lower gear. Clemson versus North Carolina State. The Tigers raced to Raleigh for a Saturday.
Back on the Bama Insider Tailgate Show, always presented by Yuengling Lager, America's oldest brewery, and our remote from InnisFree on the Strip in Tuscaloosa is presented by Screwball, the original peanut butter whiskey. Yep, and it's great, too. If you have a tailgate, it's the new Fireball, but better. I haven't heard one person complain about the taste of Screwball. It really is an amazing beverage. Before we get into playing the odds with our friend Jeff Cameron from the College Sportsbook, let me tell you guys that this segment, when we talk odds, is always presented by Pearl River Resort, and that includes Dancing Rabbit. Let me pull up Dancing Rabbit. There it is. As I show Jeff this every week, it's almost an enticement for him to meet me in Choctaw, Mississippi, to play some golf and go to the sports book at the Timeout Lounge to gamble a little bit. That could be us right there. That could be you, Jeff. I see your swing.
Let's go. I'm in. I love it. I'm telling you, as soon as this season ends, I'm making my way up there. And if I could get there sooner, I would already be there.
There, look at that shot right there. You go and you automatically get holes in one and birdies. All right, well, let's do this, man. This is always one of my favorite segments, and that's us playing the skins game of gambling as the two of us go back and forth each week for the championship belt, playing the odds. You guys know Jeff Cameron. He's on 93.3 in Tallahassee every day talking college football. He's also on Sirius XM. He's known for his work on warchant.com and the College Sportsbook. Like and subscribe as you hang out with us here on Bama Insider, or swing over to the College Sportsbook and do the same thing. And for those of you that are listening on radio right now around the state of Alabama, including our flagship station 100.5, Tuscaloosa, Birmingham, Roll Tide, thank you for making us part of your game day. All right, Jeff, here is the numbers. This thing's really tight. I'm 19-17. Okay. You're 18-18. So it's a 1-game difference. Last week, we both stunk. I had A&M. That was my win over Auburn. I lost with Kentucky, Michigan State, and Bama. You were 1-3. You had Tennessee. They beat Kentucky. You lost with Auburn and Mississippi State and Bama in the first half. We both got burned on Bama.
Yeah, Bama has burned me a few times this year. I'm about done with you, Alabama.
As we talk Alabama, New Mexico, which kicks off at 11 for all of you early birds. All right, look, this is a really interesting matchup here. This is the first game that we're going to pick. Who goes first this week, though? Is it me or you?
It's up to you, buddy. I don't care. I understand you're trying to be fair, but I can't remember what we did last week, so we're good to go.
Neither can I. I'll go first. Look, Auburn is at Mississippi State. This is a 5.5-point spread. I'm going to go with Auburn, and I'm going to tell you why. I know Auburn got shut down last week at Texas A&M. They're 5-4 this season against the spread. The Tigers have been favored by 5.5 points more than 3 times this season. They've covered the spread twice. I like Auburn in this game. Mississippi State, they're inconsistent. They're trying out walk-ons and just regular college students to kick after they absolutely blew a chance to beat Arkansas last week. Mississippi State has 5 wins against the spread this year in 9 games, so they're even under 500 there. I just think 5.5 for Auburn at home against a team that they normally beat is pretty good. I'm going to take them.
I got Auburn as well. I just, sometimes I think to myself with Leach and all the antics, it can't be good for your team. I know he's had varying degrees of success, but when you call people out incessantly as he does, and it's just how hard are they fighting at this late stage? I don't know. I like Auburn here. I think they win the game by a touchdown. I'm with you.
Okay. How about this? Another game in the SEC. Texas A&M, maybe one of the hottest teams in college football, is at Ole Miss. Game day is going to be there. 2.5-point home dog, right, for Ole Miss.
I like Texas A&M. Whatever they got figured out after losing to the aforementioned Mississippi State Bulldogs earlier this year, it has righted the ship big time. They've been able to get great quarterback play. They play very good defense. They're not turning the football over. They do turn people over. They limit the other team's run game. I think they make teams one-dimensional. I think right now they're an SEC team you don't want to play. Give me Texas A&M to go out and win this game.
Yeah, we're on the same page with this one as well. I look at this matchup, and normally I like a home dog. I'll take a home dog, but not this time. And it's because of the defense. I think that Mississippi State limiting Auburn to just 226 yards last week and 3 points, an Auburn team that's been very good this year. Since they've beaten Alabama, and you mentioned the loss to Mississippi State, the next week they beat Alabama. They've been a different team. They're believers now in Jimbo Fisher. They crushed Missouri and South Carolina. They took care of Auburn. Now they go on the road. Defense travels. And their offensive line, which was such a big problem at the beginning of the season, has now helped rush for over 200 yards a game. Achane and Spiller have been going hard. I just feel like that they're going to give Ole Miss a lot of problems. And Matt Corral's not practicing right now for the Rebels. He didn't last week, and he played. They won the game, but he didn't this week. And I wonder, how much that's going to affect the offense when those two teams match up. So, I'm giving up the points, and I'm taking the road dog on this one.
Yeah, you and I are on the same page here. We got Texas A&M. This is the next game. Is a fun game. I think we're doing NC State and Wake, right?
Yeah, and this is right up your alley.
Well, I told you a couple weeks ago with Wake Forest, and I if you guys watch the College Sportsbook, I mentioned this. Their defense is all beat up. And you go back a couple weeks, they gave up 50 points to Army, I think it was. And then, this game they couldn't hold a lead. North Carolina ends up dropping over 50 on them. It's a crazy time for Wake right now because they can really score, and they're a well-coached team, and I like them. but I don't like them here. I think NC State's the more physical team. I think NC State's better on defense. I think Leary is going to do enough and not turn the football over. And I like NC State to win the game. I'll take them getting the points, and I think they go on the road and win the game.
Well, I like your pick, but we're going to differ this week. I'm taking Wake, and I felt like this was a really tough game to handicap. I mean, you're giving up 2.5 points. Well, I am taking Wake at home, but NC State's been so good, 6-3 record against the spread. But when they travel, they haven't been quite as good. I watched the game last week. Sam Hartman, I mean, what a leader for Wake Forest, right? The guy's approaching 3,000 passing yards. He's got 27 touchdowns, only 5 interceptions. He runs the ball. He scored 8 touchdowns on the ground. Devin Leary's a great player too. But I just feel like after the way that they lost last week to North Carolina, Wake left a little bit out on the football field. I felt like they ran out of time in that game. And for that reason, I feel like at home, this is an opportunity for them to bounce back and get in the win column. This is a generational season for Wake Forest. I mean, normally they're the doormat or one of them in the ACC. They need this game right here, and they get an opportunity against one of the best in the ACC. I think they take advantage of it.
We finally have one different, buddy. It could be the difference maker. We're on to locks.
All right, there, let's go. All right, lock of the week. I'll go first this time. This was a tough, I couldn't figure out what I wanted, but Ed Orgeron gave me one, and I'm taking Arkansas -2.5 at LSU. Look, I think the only reason this line is that low is because LSU lost to Alabama in style, right? But I don't believe in moral victories or style victories. When your coach runs off the field and he's got his hands up after you lost the football game and he's telling everybody in the media that he felt they were better. I've heard this before from him. And then the next week you go out and get beat because you thought that you won the week before and you didn't. And I think that's going to happen again. Like, nothing tells me that a butt whooping's coming than when I hear a head coach that lost a football game run around talking like they did. Now, LSU's run defense was good last week against Alabama. Their offensive line was definitely messed up, but they got ripped apart by Ole Miss and Kentucky. 330 yards for those teams running against them. I mean, think about that. And we know who Kentucky is now. The Hogs' offensive line has played well. They mark themselves on running the football. I just feel like they're going to run the football, and LSU, having lost 4 out of 5, but walking around like they're winners, tells me that this is going to be another L for Ed.
I like your pick, and I understand why you did it, and I'm certainly kind of in line with that. I'll tell you what, I'm enjoying watching the end of the year games where we try to pick these locks because Vegas gets a handle on the spreads as the year goes on. They do a much better job of figuring out who these teams are or are not. And I always find that fascinating. Need to double check the line here. I think they're a little off on one with Wyoming at Boise State. This is not a vintage Boise State team. I've been on this Wyoming team off and on. Let's double check, Mick. Last I saw, I was getting 15.5, somewhere in that neighborhood. We'll double check it to make sure we're spot on. But give me Wyoming here on the road, getting the points as my lock of the week against Boise State.
Going out west. And I'm digging this up as you talk about it. So you're taking Wyoming in the points in this one, huh?
I'm going to take Wyoming getting the points. They've done me right lately. I had them against Colorado State on my personal card, and they won that game outright. I didn't understand why Colorado State was favored, but Wyoming's a game team. They'll hang in there with you. They're fighters, and you get more than 2 touchdowns here. I'll do that. I know early in the week is when I got it, so I probably should have double checked before I joined you just now, and instead of making you scramble. But I got them getting 15.5, somewhere in that neighborhood. If they're north of 2 touchdowns, and I think they are, Mick, I'll take Wyoming here.
All right. Yeah, I still haven't found it, but we'll update that when we get off here. But yeah, it's an interesting battle right there within itself. Jeff, what do you have going on this week, college sportsbook wise?
Michigan Penn State is a game preview that is going to be up later this afternoon. I look forward. It's probably already up at the time that you're seeing this. And then also, I would tell you that we had a chance to preview the state of Florida. Also, Heisman odds. Did a video with Lee Sterling from Paramount Sports looking at Heisman odds. I enjoyed that because we think best value right now is C.J. Stroud at Ohio State, just in terms of value. So that was fun this week as well. We're doing more and more of these postseason type things about the college football playoff, Heisman odds, all that good stuff. Right now, obviously, it's kind of a weird time because it's Georgia and the rest of the field. Nobody else really does anybody think can win the national championship. So all the pressure shifts to Georgia right now. It's never been more set up for them to cash in the chips, right? So a lot of pressure on Kirby Smart in Georgia. So we're having fun talking about that as well.
All right, 13.5 is
oh no. Well, see, I got it at 15, so now I'm going to have to give you a second block because I'm not taking it under 14.
All right, switch it then.
Oh, man, switch it. Okay, I'll tell you what. Cincinnati and USF, can't do it. I wanted to look at that game, but that's already been played at the time we're talking about this. So here you go. I'm going to give you the over Boston College and Georgia Tech.
Okay.
The over Boston College, Georgia Tech. All right? Does that work for you?
Yeah, I love the fact that it's like you've got the next one ready to go, like rapid fire. Like you just pull the trigger and here's the next block.
Well, I have about 20 games this week on my personal card, so that makes it a little bit easier. The problem is I bet that card, and I think for all of you out there, if you are a sporting guy or gal and you get into these things, you need to grab those numbers that you like on a Sunday night or a Monday morning. You don't want to wait really late in the week because those numbers could shift the wrong direction for you. So I had some fun with that earlier in the week. And so, yeah, I'll take that over there with the Georgia Tech game.
Well, Jeff, always great hanging out. Let me remind everybody that this segment is brought to you by Pearl River Resort and Casino in Choctaw. Now's a great time to make your picks count at the Timeout Sports Lounge and Sportsbook located at Golden Moon Hotel and Casino. They offer traditional betting in which guests can bet on all professional and major college sporting events, bet your favorite team, catch the game from their comfortable and beautiful newly remodeled Timeout Lounge. You got 20 TVs with all the major networks, 12 state-of-the-art wager boards, 3 wager stations. You got the drinks and the food, and it really is a fantastic place to hang out. And we'll do it again next week, Jeff.
Always
I say good luck.
Good to see you, buddy.
I'd say good luck, but you're too close to me right now.
Have fun, man. Enjoy the rest of the day. Enjoy the football.
Thank you, my friend. We'll be back right after this.
Game day will never be the same because Pearl River Resort is introducing all new ways to win with Sportsbook at Golden Moon Casino. This is your ticket to Vegas-style sports betting, and it's game time. Place your bets on dozens of high-impact sports matchups anytime at the Timeout Lounge. And as always, play over 1,100 Vegas-style slots, 25 table games, and our 14-table poker room. Pearl River Resort is redefining what it means to win with Sportsbook at Golden Moon Casino. We're not just fans. We're here to play.
Yingling Traditional Lager. The beer for drinkers who know how to soar higher and spread their wings. So prepare yourself for takeoff and let your night take flight. Liftoff. When your lips meet that cold, crisp amber lager, there's no looking back. So go for glory. Tonight's about the lager, and this lager is all about soaring higher. Yingling Traditional Lager. Spread your wings. DJ Yingling & Son, Pottsville, Pennsylvania. Please drink responsibly.
Thinking about trading or selling your current vehicle? Make sure you get more. Barry Buckner for Tuscaloosa Hyundai. It's been an amazing year, and to keep it going, we need your car. We'll buy your car even if you don't buy one of ours, and we'll pay you more for it. Trading or selling? At Tuscaloosa Hyundai, get more. Corner of Skyland and Hargrove.
TuscaloosaHyundai.com. See dealer for vehicle value details.
R&R Cigars invites you to the Cigar Mansion in downtown Tuscaloosa, or the newest location in Northport in the Winn-Dixie Shopping Center. Now 2 awesome locations serving Tuscaloosa and Northport. The best cigar selection and bourbon in the Southeast awaits you. R&R Cigar is your home for all sports. Outsource your man cave to R&R. Get a cigar in Yingling for $10 when you tell them Mick sent you. 2703 6th Street, downtown Tuscaloosa near Home 2 Suites, or Northport next to Winn-Dixie. TheCigarMansion.com.
The tradition of giving fine art continues with the Daniel A. Moore Alabama Christmas Gift Pack, including the new 2022 Crimson and White Fine Art Calendar, featuring some of the most honored former Alabama players, one collegiate classic fine art print signed by the artist, and your choice of 4 Daniel A. Moore beverage mugs, all for only $79, a $115 value. Order now at danielmooreart.com or by calling 1-800-735-2787.
Barry Buckner for Genesis of Tuscaloosa. You heard it said, affordable luxury. But when it comes to affordable service, every new Genesis we sell comes with 3-year, 36,000-mile complimentary service. If you want to pay more, that's your business. If you want to save, that's our business. GenesisofTuscaloosa.com.
Ownership limitations may apply. See your retailer for details. Genesis reserves the right to change program without notice. Exclusions may apply.
Game day will never be the same because Pearl River Resort is introducing all new ways to win with Sportsbook at Golden Moon Casino. This is your ticket to Vegas-style sports betting, and it's game time. Place your bets on dozens of high-impact sports matchups anytime at the Timeout Lounge. And as always, play over 1,100 Vegas-style slots, 25 table games, and our 14-table poker room. Pearl River Resort is redefining what it means to win with Sportsbook at Golden Moon Casino. We're not just fans. We're here to play.
Do you consider yourself a black sheep, misfit, or screwball? If so, we've got the perfect drink for you. Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey. Screwball combines 2 of America's favorite, peanut butter and whiskey. Enjoy it neat, on the rocks, or in your favorite cocktail. Screwball, the original most awarded peanut butter whiskey, is now available near you. Go to screwballwhiskey.com for more information. Enjoy responsibly.
Advertisement by Screwball Spirits, LLC, San Diego, California. Whiskey with natural flavors, 35% alcohol by volume.
The Great Smoky Mountains area has some of the best fall drives in the nation. One of the most interesting and beautiful of these can be found on the way to Bluff Mountain. This fall, the best view is yours on Sevierville's Bluff Mountain Fall Driving Tour. Learn more and find additional fall drives to enjoy at visitsevierville.com/fall.
Well, howdy, fans, and welcome to Week 11 of this wild and woolly college football season. The Little Smart Pill machine set a record last week at 24-4, including upset prognostication for Wake Forest and Michigan State. Let's fire up for this week's losers. North Carolina State versus Wake Forest. The Wolfpack makes the 100-mile trek to Winston-Salem for this ACC matchup. This one is a battle for the top spot in the ACC Atlantic Division. The Demon Deacons are coming off their first loss last week at the hands of a Tar Heel. The Pack is coming off an impressive road win at Florida State. The Preachers have rebuilt a pulpit and should withstand any Wolfpack attack. Leonard's loser, North Carolina State. Mississippi State versus Auburn. There's Bulldogs and Tigers in this nooner at Jordan-Hare on ESPN. Both teams are looking to rebound from losses last week. The War Eagles never got into the end zone at College Station, while the Bull Puppies missed 3 field goals, including a would-be tying attempt as time expired in Fayetteville. The Tigers opened as a 5-point favorite and have lost to State only twice this century on the Plains. If Tiger quarterback Bo Nix can generate some offense, there should be plenty of celebrating at Toomer's Corner. Leonard's loser, Mississippi State. New Mexico State versus Alabama. The Aggies make the 1,200-mile journey from Las Cruces to Tuscaloosa for this noon massacre at Bryant-Denny. The Pachyderms are a 52-point favorite. State quarterback has tossed 8 TDs and 7 interceptions, and this one should be a good time for an afternoon nap. Leonard's loser, Texas A&M versus Ole Miss. It's number 11 Aggies versus the number 12 Rebels Saturday night in Oxford. The Lane Train is a slight home favorite, and Vaught Hemingway should be rocking and rolling. Ole Miss quarterback Matt Corral has to be healthy to put up numbers worthy of Heisman consideration. If Tony the Land Shark has sharpened those needle-like incisors, he might disable the 12th man. Leonard's loser, Texas A&M. Well, fans, that does it for Week 11. If you didn't get a chance to thank a veteran on Veterans Day, take time to do so this weekend. And remember, if you can't wear a smile, wear a white hat so we can tell you from the bad guys. Get me out of here, Percy.
All right, that's Leonard's loser as we hang out with you here on the Bama Insider Tailgate Show from InnisFree in Tuscaloosa. The show is brought to you by Yuengling Lager, America's oldest brewery. And let me remind you that this segment is always presented to you by Tuscaloosa Hyundai. The Elantra, the Sinatra, or an SUV like the Tucson, tailgating doesn't get any better. As you hang out with us, we get you ready for Alabama and New Mexico State. Like and subscribe to the Bama Insider YouTube channel. And don't forget, our friend Jay Barker has his show every day on the Bama Insider YouTube channel from 12 to noon. You can watch Jay, Lars Anderson, and his entire crew each and every day break down all of the happenings in sports. And don't forget, after the game, when Alabama and New Mexico State wrap up, we'll be at Westgate Luxury Condominiums on the roof right next to Bryant-Denny Stadium to talk about how things went down. It is great, though, as we are here at InnisFree to talk to one of my good buddies, Coach Don Staley. Coach was taking care of soccer back in the day when I was just a young college student. I used to cover your teams. Now you're in charge of Tuscaloosa Sports and Tourism, doing a great job with that. How you been?
Doing pretty good. How about you?
Hey, look, enjoying my time here. We got the screwball Christmas lights up. I mean, we're almost in the season, hanging out here at InnisFree. Not quite the buzz that we had last week for LSU, but still having a good time.
No, especially an 11 o'clock game, right?
Yeah.
Speaking of buzz, what were they drinking back there?
Those were Irish car bombs.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was impressive.
It's like Guinness, and I guess it's Guinness and Irish whiskey or something. I don't know. Look good. You drop it in there and then drink it down. What's your favorite shot? Screwball?
Fireball? Yeah. I think probably a Fireball does well for me. It used to be a shot of beer, schnapps. Believe it or not, back in the day when I was in college, we did a place called Chicho's. You did shots and a beer.
Where was that at? Radford?
That was at Virginia Wesleyan. Virginia Beach. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm going to get you a Yuengling and a Screwball. I got to show you the new Fireball. Before we get out of here. All right. Well, let's talk about Tuscaloosa. I mean, we're hanging out in Tuscaloosa. There's so many different things going on. Many of the people that listen and watch, they come to town for the football games. And, that's what folks are listening right now, thinking about, hey, love the football. But there's also a bunch of other stuff going on that you guys cover as well. You got the Civil Rights Tour, the trail, which has kind of become a big thing now.
When you start looking at the history of the Civil Rights Trail, starting in Birmingham and Montgomery, now, of course, Selma's got a lot going on there, too, but they've spent a pretty good penny there with the brick and mortar in those two cities. And right now, what we look to do, aspire to do going forward is to connect the circle. You've got Birmingham folks first come in there and take a look at their civil rights component. They go down to Montgomery, and they've actually got 3 brick and mortars down there. Oh, yeah. Beautiful. Legacy Memorial down there. Selma, well, why not up here? We've got some history with civil rights. Linton Barber Shop, the jailhouse. The city is committed to buying those. We've incubated for the last 2.5 years, dedicated one employee to the Civil Rights Foundation and the trail. So we feel like in time, we're going to end up seeing what's happening in Montgomery. They're getting lots and lots of heads in the beds because of people coming in to take a good look. They're eating in the restaurants, sleeping in the hotels, retail.
Yeah.
So the alleyway does very good down there in Montgomery.
Oh, yeah, right by the stadium.
We could do the same thing here, and we aspire to do that. It's funny. I was just thinking about, I've lived here on and off for 28 years, and my office is located in the farmers market, river market. And so for me, the Black Warrior River has always been just either the river that you cross, right, and the 2 bridges, or looking out my office window.
Yeah.
Stan and I went up.
I jog by your office window when I'm in town from Hotel Indigo. I'm right by
you need
there.
to start throwing stuff, But so we ended up going recently to up 11 miles on the Black Warrior River. One of the reasons is because we believe that we should be part of the Alabama Bass Fishing Trail. We're losing out about 1.5 to 1.8 million annually because we don't have enough ramps and parking. At some point, we're going to end up getting that component fixed. And what we wanted to do is take a look upriver, what it looked like. Let me tell you what, we've got such beauty in Tuscaloosa, whether it's Lake Lurleen, Lake Nichols, Lake Harris, or up the Black Warrior or Lake Tuscaloosa. They're telling me that some of the best fishing is actually on the Black Warrior River.
How about that?
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And I thought about 11 miles up, I thought I was on Lake Tuscaloosa. It was so tranquil.
Yeah.
And, so anyways, I wanted to throw that out. When you're here in Tuscaloosa, even though, it's 11 o'clock game, you're going to stick around afterwards, take a look at the trail.
Yeah, right.
Take a look at our river walk.
Yeah.
Again, I think that in time with this Elevate Tuscaloosa program, you're going to see so many great changes here, additions here. Look at the Savings Center. What that's going to look like in a couple of years just down the road. I look at the skating that has been down there at the amphitheater for so long, and I know we're going to talk a little music here in a little while, but they've moved that up to Government Plaza. Government Plaza is where Live at the Plaza, Matt Calderon and City Council years ago decided that we want to do something really cool in the summertime on Friday.
Right.
And they brought in amazing bands. Well, there's a lot of things that happen up there at Government Plaza. Well, now, here in, I guess, probably in a few weeks, it'll be cold enough where they'll put the ice down and you'll skate up there.
How about that? Yeah, the other thing, too, is we're kind of getting into the Christmas season, too. And, say you're coming into town for next week's Arkansas game, or you're coming in for basketball, which is getting cranked up. You can get into the holiday spirit, too, with all of the Christmas tree walk and all that cool stuff.
Absolutely. And let me take that a step further. For those folks that are coming in that are true Tide fans, we don't really reap much of the benefit from Amazon. The taxes.
Right.
So we're on a big push. We've got an amazing president for the Chamber of Commerce. Jim Page has done great things, and we're partners. And one of the things that the city, the county, Northport, and our Chamber of Commerce are pushing is, why don't you step off a little bit with Amazon, because we're losing out on the taxes. Shop local.
Yeah, right.
So if you're coming into town, and you've got a little bit of extra time, shop local Tuscaloosa. You're helping our economy here with our local vendors. And you know what? I know it's easy. I do the same thing. I order a lot of stuff on Amazon, and I shouldn't, but I know this much. With the supply chain issues that we have, I'm going to spend more time this Christmas season shopping local.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. And look, anything to help Tuscaloosa, obviously that's going to trickle back with the football team and the university and all of that as well. Some big-time concerts have been here. We had I was at the hotel, and I heard Santana from the hotel roof bar one night. It was awesome. John Party was here last week. Alabama's been here, the group. Just so many different good ones have come through, and you guys try to help promote those.
They've got an amazing group at the city that they put in charge of that amphitheater. K-Day, Stacy Vaughn first.
Yeah.
And then K-Day runs the amphitheater. And she, believe it or not, she was part of boxing. She, I believe, worked for Oscar De La Hoya.
Oh, wow.
She used to be part of the boxing council.
Yeah.
She was a judge. She was one of the folks that helped get the boxing off the ground when they became the Alabama Athletic Commission.
Oh, cool.
For Deontay to do the first fight that we did over at Shelby State. We were working with Kay. Kay ended up going to the amphitheater. She is dynamite, and they've been bringing in some great shows. Of course, with Red Mountain Entertainment, Gary Weinberger, and all those folks. But I was there at that Santana concert. Let me tell you what, I loved Marcus King. I loved, Revivalists. I think I've seen them probably 10 times.
Yeah.
But bucket list item, Santana was on it.
Yeah.
And they killed it. They did a great job. I love that event. We do music pretty well here. And, it's funny. People don't realize what a music scene that we actually have, a rich history.
Yeah.
Look at Bill Lloyd, who used to be one of our president for TTS. He's there at Druid City Social with Brendan Hanks. He had the Green Bar, had Will Higgins.
Oh, yeah.
This guy knew his music.
Yeah.
And he was part of he was able to tell me, hey, when you go to Muscle Shoals, go and check out the music scene up there, and you'll go to the museum.
Yeah.
There are so many, like in the Rolling Stones, Chuck Lavelle is an Alabama Tuscaloosa boy.
Wow.
He played in the Rolling Stones.
That's amazing.
Dinah Washington, the list could go on and on. But you're a music guy too, and I know we'll share some more of that. But we do a great job here at the amphitheater for sure.
Let's talk about the game. We'll maybe talk a little bit more music. One more segment of the Bama Insider Tailgate Show from InnisFree right after this.
Yingling Traditional Lager, the beer for drinkers who know how to soar higher and spread their wings. So prepare yourself for takeoff and let your night take flight. Liftoff. When your lips meet that cold, crisp amber lager, there's no looking back. So go for glory. Tonight's about the lager, and this lager is all about soaring higher. Yingling Traditional Lager. Spread your wings. DJ Yingling and Son, Pottsville, Pennsylvania. Please drink responsibly.
Game day will never be the same because Pearl River Resort is introducing all new ways to win with Sportsbook at Golden Moon Casino. This is your ticket to Vegas-style sports betting, and it's game time. Place your bets on dozens of high-impact sports matchups anytime at the Timeout Lounge. And as always, play over 1,100 Vegas-style slots, 25 table games, and our 14-table poker room. Pearl River Resort is redefining what it means to win with Sportsbook at Golden Moon Casino. We're not just fans. We're here to play.
R&R Cigars invites you to the Cigar Mansion in downtown Tuscaloosa, or the newest location in Northport in the Winn-Dixie Shopping Center. Now 2 awesome locations serving Tuscaloosa and Northport. The best cigar selection and bourbon in the Southeast awaits you. R&R Cigar is your home for all sports. Outsource your man cave to R&R. Get a cigar in Yingling for $10 when you tell them Mick sent you. 2703 6th Street, downtown Tuscaloosa near Home 2 Suites, or Northport next to Winn-Dixie. TheCigarMansion.com.
Experience the true spirit of Tuscaloosa at Hotel Indigo, downtown's first waterfront hotel overlooking the Black Warrior River. Hotel Indigo is perfectly located near a myriad of unique shops, restaurants, and the Tuscaloosa Amphitheater. You rolling with the tide? Hotel Indigo is less than a mile from the University of Alabama. The Lookout Bar on the roof of Hotel Indigo is the best place in Tuscaloosa to enjoy great views, appetizers, and spirits with friends. Book Hotel Indigo now and enjoy the best of Tuscaloosa.
The Great Smoky Mountains area has some of the best fall drives in the nation. One of the most interesting and beautiful of these can be found on the way to Bluff Mountain. This fall, the best view is yours on Sevierville's Bluff Mountain Fall Driving Tour. Learn more and find additional fall drives to enjoy at visitsevierville.com/fall.
The world-famous Floribama has been serving up the good times and good music since 1964. And after 57 years, we're not even close to slowing down. There's live music 365 days a year and big events all year long, including the Frank Brown International Songwriters Festival. Mark your calendar and make plans to join us on the line November 4th through the 14th for a music lovers event like no other. You'll hear the stories behind the songs from the songwriters themselves. It's a full 10 days of incredible entertainment. Make plans to join us and get all the info online at frankbrownsongwriters.com. You can't spell Alabama without the Bama. And you can't spell Floribama without the Bama. That's not the only thing that Alabama football and the Floribama have in common. There's heritage and pride. And, of course, keeping the fans happy. For 57 years, this iconic honky-tonk on the Alabama state line has been keeping our customers happy with the utmost attention on customer service. Great food, live music 365 days a year, and more events than we have time to list. Get the info you need at Floribama.com. Make your plans to join us on the line.
Experience the true spirit of Tuscaloosa at Hotel Indigo, downtown's first waterfront hotel overlooking the Black Warrior River. Hotel Indigo is perfectly located near a myriad of unique shops, restaurants, and the Tuscaloosa Amphitheater. You rolling with the tide? Hotel Indigo is less than a mile from the University of Alabama. The lookout bar on the roof of Hotel Indigo is the best place in Tuscaloosa to enjoy great views, appetizers, and spirits with friends. Book Hotel Indigo now and enjoy the best of Tuscaloosa.
Yingling Traditional Lager. The beer for drinkers who know how to soar higher and spread their wings. So prepare yourself for takeoff and let your night take flight. When your lips meet that cold, crisp amber lager, there's no looking back. So go for glory. Tonight's about the lager, and this lager is all about soaring higher. Yingling Traditional Lager. Spread your wings. DJ Yingling & Son, Pottsville, Pennsylvania. Please drink responsibly.
Game day will never be the same because Pearl River Resort is introducing all new ways to win with Sportsbook at Golden Moon Casino. This is your ticket to Vegas-style sports betting, and it's game time. Place your bets on dozens of high-impact sports matchups anytime at the Timeout Lounge. And as always, play over 1,100 Vegas-style slots, 25 table games, and our 14-table poker room. Pearl River Resort is redefining what it means to win with Sportsbook at Golden Moon Casino. We're not just fans. We're here to play.
R&R Cigars invites you to the Cigar Mansion in downtown Tuscaloosa, or the newest location in Northport in the Winn-Dixie Shopping Center. Now 2 awesome locations serving Tuscaloosa and Northport. The best cigar selection and bourbon in the Southeast awaits you. R&R Cigar is your home for all sports. Outsource your man cave to R&R. Get a cigar in Yingling for $10 when you tell them Mick sent you. 2703 6th Street, downtown Tuscaloosa near Home 2 Suites, or Northport next to Winn-Dixie. TheCigarMansion.com.
Experience the true spirit of Tuscaloosa at Hotel Indigo, downtown's first waterfront hotel overlooking the Black Warrior River. Hotel Indigo is perfectly located near a myriad of unique shops, restaurants, and the Tuscaloosa Amphitheater. You rolling with the tide? Hotel Indigo is less than a mile from the University of Alabama. The lookout bar on the roof of Hotel Indigo is the best place in Tuscaloosa to enjoy great views, appetizers, and spirits with friends. Book Hotel Indigo now and enjoy the best of Tuscaloosa.
The Great Smoky Mountains area has some of the best fall drives in the nation. One of the most interesting and beautiful of these can be found on the way to Bluff Mountain. This fall, the best view is yours on Sevierville's Bluff Mountain Fall Driving Tour. Learn more and find additional fall drives to enjoy at visitsevierville.com/fall.
The world-famous Floribama has been serving up the good times and good music since 1964. And after 57 years, we're not even close to slowing down. There's live music 365 days a year and big events all year long, including the Frank Brown International Songwriters Festival. Mark your calendar and make plans to join us on the line November 4th through the 14th for a music lovers event like no other. You'll hear the stories behind the songs from the songwriters themselves. It's a full 10 days of incredible entertainment. Make plans to join us and get all the info online at frankbrownsongwriters.com.